What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at the all-new 2024 Hyundai Kona N-Line all-wheel drive. This one's finished off in ultimate red metallic. MSRP is around $33,600. Underneath the hood of the 2024 Hyundai Kona N-Line, you're going to find a 1.6 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It has 190 horsepower with 195 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, sending the power to all 4 wheels. Overall curb weight is 3,483 pounds. It runs on a 13.2 gallon fuel tank, and you're also looking at 24 miles per gallon in the city with 29 out on the highway. The overall length is 172.6 inches with a wheelbase at 104.7. Width is 71.9, height is 63.4, and ground clearance for the all-wheel drive car is 8.3 inches. Moving on to the exterior styling with the all-new Hyundai Kona. This has a super unique look. You're going to see that horizon beam LED light across the entire front end. The actual headlights and high beams are down below. You can also see the turn signal. Got some nice black trim with your N-Line logo, and then all gloss black trim surrounding the front portion of the bumper. Has a pretty aggressive design and very modern and futuristic as well. You can see some aggressive aspects in the lower portion of the bumper with that front splitter, safety sensor up above, active grille shutters, and then more openings to provide cooling to the engine. You can see the Hyundai logo right in the front, and a very seamless design for this hood, just nice and rounded off for increased aerodynamics. As you make your way to the side profile, you're going to see the really cool set of 19-inch wheels, finished in a 2-tone color. Get that N logo as well, and then the body colored fender flares all throughout the front. Got the N-Line badge up there, and then you can see the aggressive design for these side skirts. There's a Z shape in the side of the doors just to give it a unique design. Body colored door handles, gloss black mirror caps, and all black trim surrounding all the windows. You also can see the black on the roof rails, panoramic roof up front, and the side profile is pretty proportional. Has a pretty fun and sporty design to it, and then more sharp lines as you make your way into the rear. You can see more of that body colored for the rear fenders, taillights to match in that really unique design, and then another LED bar. The N-Line gets a pretty cool looking spoiler up on the roof as well. Third brake light is up there. Pretty cool look for the diffuser with some trim. Exhaust tips over on the right side, and overall the rear end really complements the overall new shape. Moving on to the key fob, you can see the Hyundai logo in it with all of your typical buttons. We do have the smart key, so keeping it locked and the fob in my pocket, I can just grab the door handle and we can take a look at this interior. The N-Line gets a pretty cool black leather interior with the alcantara material along with red stitching and red accents. Get a nice black door panel with some vinyl for your armrests. Got a nice grab handle, all of your controls, release handle as well, and then some storage down below. We get a cool checkered flag on the door sill, power controls on the seat, then a combination of the smooth leather with red stitching, and then really nice alcantara material. You can see how it has the perforations, racing stripe throughout the center, the N logo as well, and then a really unique 3-spoke steering wheel with red stitching. And then now inside the Kona N-Line, keep my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. You have the 2 massive 12.3 inch screens for the entire gauge cluster. Right in the center, you're going to see some trip information, your tach and speedometer, along with a few vitals. And then take a look at the steering wheel now. You have just some silver trim in the center, cruise control settings over on the left side with your forward pacing, lane keeping, and steering intervention. You also see some Bluetooth and audio controls. Now if I tap this pages icon, you can go through the center screen a little bit. You can see navigation, safety settings, and you can scroll up and down right here, see some trip information, and a few more items within the car. You can also go into your drive mode select, which is down here, and whenever you toggle it, it'll give you a pretty cool animation to change your different drive modes. And then on the right side, we do have steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, these stock for the windshield wipers. The drive select is down below. You push it forward into drive, back into reverse, and then you just tap the side button to go into park. On the left side, you're going to see the stock for the headlights as well as turn signals, and then down below here, you can see the downhill assist, interior dimming and traction control, and an electronic park and brake. You're going to see some red trim, some fabric material, all black running across the dashboard, and then more of that red material on the right side with a cool storage area. You have more red trim for those air vents, and then the typical Hyundai infotainment system. This is an updated version, comparing it to previous generation Hyundais. There's a lot of different items that you can scroll through. You can go into settings, see all sorts of different items there. Back to home, then you can continue going, and you'll see maintenance, diagnostic, and a few more items. Now if I go ahead and put this into reverse, we get a nice backup camera on the left side. You can also toggle the settings, have a few things right there, and then if I go under here, you can just adjust your view in a few different ways. And just going back into park. Underneath that, we have all of your different controls for the media, the map, different shortcuts basically along the screen, and then climate controls are down below. You have some nice toggles for the temperature and fan speed. You can also see your zones, a few more controls on the left side, and there's a nice silver trim throughout this dash. Down below, we have a few different USB ports. You can also push that open for the 12 volt, wireless phone charging, as well as storage, heated seats, you have the auto hold, shortcut to the camera, and you can even lock the differential. Down below, you have even more storage space throughout the center, and I really like how these cup holders will all fold away. So you can do that for ample storage, but then when you need them, you just press the button and they're going to pop right out. You also have more storage all throughout the center, and then you can move this as well. So it's really nice how they've given you so much storage right in the center to make it really convenient. On the far right side, if we take a look at the glove box, pretty large as you would expect. And then one last look at the interior. Nice and sporty, good upgrade from the previous generation. Still has a fun vibe to it, but it feels really nice. You get a black headliner, sunshade up above that, all of your different dome lights along with that roof control, along with a nice size sun visor, along with a mirror inside of that, and then a thin frameless mirror. And then moving on to the rear seat space, grabbing the door handle, opening it up, very similar door panel as you saw up in front, and then you have all this same seating back here with the smooth leather contrast stitching, and then the entire surfaces are covered in that perforated alcantara. You also have more smooth leather up above with more red stitching. Then you can take the center seat, pull this down, and you have cup holders and an armrest. Now there are air vents back here along with USB ports and then storage, and I really like how they've slimmed the front seats down to improve legroom. Now at the back of the seat, you can grab this handle, pull this, and this is going to fold down nice and flat to give you even more storage and space into the trunk. Alright, so sitting in the back of the Hyundai Kona, the new one is pretty roomy. At 5'11", sitting back here, I have a really good amount of headroom and even legroom with that seat design. My knees and feet fit fine. The seat itself has had a pretty good recline, good armrest, really nice visibility with all the glass as well. So honestly, for a family-sized crossover that's on a smaller size, it's a pretty good small-size crossover. And then moving on to the rear cargo area, there's a button underneath the end. We can manually lift this open. You have a pretty good amount of storage in here. It's nice and flat for the load floor. You can also lift this open, and you're gonna see a spare tire, a little bit of cargo over on the left side, and you're gonna notice this cargo cover actually has its own spot. You can lock it down here, and there's little push tabs. That way you can lock this out of the way when you don't need it. And then just pressing those, and you can pull this down a little bit, and then get this back on the floor, or of course put it into its upright position. You're also able to, from back here, pull these handles, and you can pull these seats completely forward, get them out of the way, and you can see just how much more storage space you're gonna get in the back of the new Kona. It's a pretty roomy, small SUV, so it's pretty nice to see just how well they've designed everything. All right, guys, we are setting off now in the Kona N. It's got a peppy little engine. It'll get you up to speed nicely. One of the biggest things you're going to notice with this new Kona is that it's really nice to drive. The build quality has improved drastically. They've increased sound deadening, things like that, to where this just feels like a pretty nice, comfortable little car to be in. Seats are comfortable, visibility's really good, looking out the windshield and everything. When you look over your right and left shoulders, pretty good view all around. It's really just an easy car to place and things like that. The suspension absorbs bumps very nicely to where it just rides really smooth. And going 45, you don't really hear much wind noise or road noise. It's a very confident car to be in. The tech all works great, very easy to use while driving. Got good animations and everything like that. So just kind of easy interface, very simple. Storage solutions are really good as well. And the materials you touch are pretty nice. While there's a lot of plastics, they feel nice. I mean, it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that. And it's crazy how this car is not that expensive. It is significantly lower than the average price of a new car today. So it's a pretty nicely well done car. The turbo engine, I would say there's a little lag, and then once it kicks in, it almost like goes too quick. So I say the engine could be a little bit smoother in the power delivery. You know, sometimes it's kind of boggy, and then once it gets going, it downshifts. And and then it just starts to carry a little bit too much. So that's my one complaint. Just I wouldn't mind a little bit smoother power delivery. However, we're talking about a very small little engine, so it's kind of what you would expect. You're not really going to be flooring it much in a car like this. Transmission smooth, you don't feel any shifting, and given it has the all-wheel drive, you're not going to feel any like torque steer or anything like that, like a front-wheel drive possibly could. I haven't driven a front-wheel drive, so I'm not too sure. But the all-wheel drive one, it does drive pretty smooth and pretty effortless. Steering in it, nice and lightweight and everything. When you go into sport mode, it basically just sharpens throttle response a little bit more, makes the downshifts a little quicker. So it helps out if you need to be driving maybe in the mountains or something to where you need the car just a little bit more snappy. I would say that's a good way to go. But overall, yeah, the Kona N seems pretty cool. The N-Line especially. This one's got the sporty appearance package. It doesn't affect any actual performance over like a limited or a more base model trim. So it's nice to give it a cooler look. Of course, the seating, the body kit, the wheels, things like that. It does lack a few of the luxury options that a limited would have though. And then hitting that big bump, again, the build quality, this thing feels pretty solid. We drove these in Charleston with Hyundai when they launched this car, and we were all pretty impressed with just driving it around the city and everything. It was just a nice city car, and yet something you can go out on an adventure, tackle some all-terrain circumstances, and just rack up some miles pretty comfortably. Alright, so turning around to my perspective, honest thoughts with the new Kona. So like I said, we were on a trip in Charleston, South Carolina with Hyundai, taking a look at these, driving it through the cities, and then through kind of like the back roads, going on some off-road trails and things like that. It's an impressive little car. You know, it's got some quirky styling to it. However, when you compare it to the previous generation, it's much more grown up. It feels a lot nicer. It feels much more just put together and a really solid car. Hitting these big train track bumps again. Going 26 over them. There's some other cars that are a lot more expensive that kind of hurts a little bit. So this car really feels solid. It's got good ground clearance. It's an easy car to maneuver and just an easy car to drive overall. You know, it's peppy enough to get up to speed. The visibility is just easy. And it seems like a fun car where you can go on an adventure with and do quite a lot with. And I like how the way Hyundai's kind of positioned this car is for the city liver. You live in the city, you need something that's easy to park, something small. However, you still need room on the interior, and you want to probably get out of the city on the weekends, go do something different. And that's a cool thing with this car. Exterior wise, this is smaller than the competition. However, this has like class leading interior volume. So when you're inside this car, comparing it to the competition that might have a bigger footprint, this is more roomy. It's got more space in it. The back seats are actually really roomy. So Hyundai did do a really good job just giving you a compact car, but maximizing the interior space to where it doesn't feel compact. It feels super roomy. You know, sitting in the back, putting a bunch of stuff in the cargo area. It's just an easy car to load up for your weekend trips and just kind of do anything with. So I've been a really big fan of just that aspect. It's kind of exactly what Hyundai says it can do. It's that good adventurous city SUV, and I can agree with a lot of what they're telling you about this car. And when you're driving it, you know, kind of drive it for yourself, it doesn't feel cheap. I think the previous generation, it felt like an affordable, compact budget crossover. Totally got that feeling. This one doesn't really feel like that. This feels more upscale, more premium. The use of materials is pretty nice to where you can just kind of enjoy driving it. It doesn't feel like you spent too much and got not enough. It seems like something that's worth the price point. Obviously today, you know, the car market, the prices are a lot more than they used to be. I get it. However, when you compare this to the competition, it's well priced, well sized, just an easy, nice little car to drive. And the styling is pretty cool as well. I think that's kind of everything to talk about. Not really all much to go over. There's not like a crazy amount of fancy things in here or anything, you know, extravagant. But if you're looking for an affordable, good sized, smaller crossover that can actually fit a family, fit stuff in the cargo area, and you can actually drive it not only comfortably around town, but go out on a weekend, even if it's off-road, this is a really, really well-rounded little option. So that is it. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.